Blue Mountain Sanctuary, a Yelp review by Randall Pacemaker. Subject line: Don't believe the bullshit. Great spaghetti. Wowee, mamma mia. I came across this place while I was passing by the old hiking trail down here in the East Florida mountains. I'm not a hiker or nothing, but I did greet the trail a couple times on my evening walks. Anywho, I remember it was a very cold day. It's that sort of prickly, kind of living cold. Wakes you up and pisses you off at the same time. Bah humbug. Anyway, I was up there with my wife Rhonda at the time, and we were up from Ohio, just a couple of yokels out in the Florida wilds, you know the deal. I included a photo from the old trip. We saw on one of the road signs that there was a Blue Mountain Sanctuary down the trail. We're road sign people, we don't really do maps, so we said, seems good to us, and started moseying on down. After we found the entrance to the land, we were greeted at the beginning of this rocky path by these two folks, who I first thought were cardboard cutouts of Oprah Winfrey and the Governor. But they actually informed me it was really them. Star power alone gives this place a much higher rating in my books. Anywho, we followed their lead and we eventually got a table after a 15-minute walk. Gotta say, I docked their final review for this. Restaurants need much quicker service, especially in Florida. The menu had a few items, even a vegetarian option, but me and my wife both ordered separate things, and both received spaghetti on the rocks. I wasn't sure if this meant there would be ice in the spaghetti, or rocks, or if it was referring to the meatballs, but I would give the dinner an 8 out of 10. The price was reasonable, and the waiter earned their tip. I gave him a shiny nickel and some keen fishing advice. After the meal, we were shown outside the cabin, where a group of patrons in purple felt robes were casually sitting around a campfire, enclosed by rocks and boulders which had been baked in the sun. From another winding path, more from this group were bringing rocks they had taken from even higher up in the mountain. Me and Rhonda watched for a moment as two of them cracked a stone open. Millions of years of seismic tension was relieved. A blue-purple tinted evaporation of pure headache energy merged with the air and left behind only its formed shapes as squeezed rocks within the boulder. The fuzzy glisten of this ancient energy hung around the air of the entire sanctuary. Afterwards, one of the waiters asked me my name. I told him Neil, and that my wife was named Rhonda. Eventually, I was introduced to who I assumed was the maitre d'. His robe was blue, and his face and hair was unimportant. Only his eyes, with a misty blue quality, they echoed the collective trust of all his devoted waiters and patrons here. An enigmatic hostess, I've never been to a restaurant with such hands-on leadership. But on day 3, after leaving my cot for the morning water, I was introduced to a whole new element of the dining experience. Randall Pacemaker, called one of the leader's head chefs, and I scurried to another circular opening in the mountainside's many nested dens. This time there was a campfire in the center, and many of my fellow patrons were sitting around on stone steps, constructed from the grassy ground. We all took turns performing country-style recitations around the fire, like Walter Brennan style. We all spoke ourselves into ecstatic exhaustion. The Blue Mountain Sanctuary does it a little different than the competition too. They don't have menus here, but full booklets. Us patrons read it together a few times a day, just chewing the grass on this next-level menu titled The Pathway to the Comet of the Mind. We filled our time there with a twofold cycle. Mornings of fresh air over a homely mountain peak, while a cerebrally fulfilling process of rock cracking and artisanal mining took place for our viewing pleasure. And nights, where we mingled again and again our own ideas into the sanctuary's soup. Metaphorical soup, not the menu item, which I did not have. Each night made me more and more comfortable with the last, and I came to appreciate the sewing together of a family outside my own. I didn't previously consider how I was surfing a dying wave of Midwestern tax-filling platitude, that I was so soon to be left scraping my board's tail against the cracked dunes with no water and perishing, bones and all, in a decaying allotment of time which means and contains nothing. To grow something, not biological, but metaphysical. To be part of the spade that fills the pot of purpose with soil and nutrients, and be part of the enriching nitrogen which wisps up its sprouts, to let the toll road of eternity count my coins at the end of my existence, rather than accept the alternative, a violent smear into time. After an emotional kerfuffle I was fortunately shielded from, one of the patrons abandoned and left early. It felt like the fall of Rome as the Blue Mountain Sanctuary practically collapsed in on itself. Leaders, tax experts left too, and me and Rhonda suddenly found no sanctuary there to keep us. This is when I left, when there was no one and nothing to leave. I was lost, and then I was found. I felt my misty winter breath lose its purpose on the way back to Ohio. 4 out of 5 stars, final review.
We're almost at the end. The clattering of pots and pans in this seminar kitchen is a big deal. So disjointed is because it represents the collective disjointedness and confusion that's kind of cracked away the members of the seminar on what it is.